The rain came down in sheets that night, thick and metallic, washing the soil into slick, black rivers that pooled among the gravestones of Old Hallow Cemetery. No one sane would have been there. No one except Jonas Hale, the excavation contractor who'd taken a private midnight job for cash he couldn't refuse. Just a quick dig. The client had said over a scramble call, "You'll find a sealed casket unmarked at the coordinates I send. Bring me what's inside. Don't open it." Jonas needed the money. His company had gone under, his wife had left, and he was one foreclosure notice away from losing everything. So he packed his drone light rig, a portable digger, and a flask of whiskey, and drove his rusted transport out to the edge of the old city. The cemetery had been closed for nearly a century. The gravestones were cracked, the names faded, but his scanner found coordinates easily. Plot 47B, a small rise near a leafless willow. As he set up his equipment, lightning forked across the sky, illuminating the Gothic sprawl of tombs like bones in the dark. Jonas wiped the rain from his goggles and activated the drone. Its beams pierced through the mist, mapping the soil in green pulses. Something was buried there, deep, an old coffin, larger than regulation size, covered in a thin metallic lining that didn't match anything in his database. He frowned. Looks like more than bones down there. Still, money was money. He fired up the digger, the hydraulic arms cutting into the mud with mechanical precision. Within an hour, he'd hit metal. The machine clanked against something heavy, echoing a hollow resonance that made his skin crawl. When the casket finally emerged, it wasn't wood. It was iron, etched with symbols he didn't recognize. Strange concentric circles and spirals like ancient circuitry. No nameplate. No dates. Jonas hesitated. The job said not to open it, but curiosity burned in his chest like a fuse. He leaned closer, running his gloved fingers over the carvings. That's when his headset buzzed. "Mr. Hale," said the voice from the call, distorted, filtered. "Step away from the coffin. Do not open it. Wait for retrieval." He glanced around. The rain had stopped. The mist hung thick, muffling sound. "How do I know you'll pay?" Jonas asked, voice shaky. "You could just ghost me after I dig this thing up." The voice paused. "If you open it, you won't have to worry about payment." Jonas looked down at the box. Something was moving beneath the metal lid. Slow vibrations, like something breathing. He should have walked away. Instead, he reached for his crowbar. With one heave, the lock snapped open. The lid hissed. A rush of cold air spilled out, colder than ice, carrying with it a smell of earth and rot. Jonas peered inside, and his stomach turned. It wasn't a corpse. It was a machine. A humanoid shape, silver and black, wrapped in decaying cloth. Its face was a mass of cracked alloy. Its eyes, dark glass. But as he stared, those eyes flickered. Once. Twice. Then opened. A faint light glowed inside them. Pale blue, pulsing like a heartbeat. Jonas stumbled back. The figure sat up. Its mouth opened, gears clicking. "Designation lost," it said in a rasping metallic voice. "Reanimation unauthorized." Jonas dropped his crowbar and ran. Part 2, The Awakening. By the time Jonas reached his transport, the drone lights behind him had gone dark. He slammed the door, started the engine, and sped down the cemetery path. His hand shook on the wheel. His heart hammered. He didn't see the figure standing at the gate until it was too late. Something hit the windshield. Hard. The vehicle skidded, flipped, and crashed into the ditch. The world spun, glass shattering around him. When Jonas came to, smoke filled the cabin. He crawled out, dazed, head bleeding. And there was again the figure, standing perfectly still under the flickering lightning. Its eyes glowed brighter now, scanning him. "Human," it said softly, as though tasting the word. "Unregistered. Temporal breach detected." Jonas raised his hands. I didn't mean to wake you. I was just doing a job." The thing tilted its head, almost curious. Then it said something that froze his blood. "You have disturbed the preservation unit." The last of the line. "The others must not know." "What others?" Jonas whispered. The figure didn't answer. It began walking, gliding toward the cemetery, the soil sinking beneath its feet. Jonas, shaking, stumbled after it. When they reached the open grave again, Jonas saw what he hadn't noticed before. There were other mounds, freshly disturbed earth. 5 of them. The figure stopped and looked down at them. "They buried us to forget," it murmured. But memory does not decay. Before Jonas could speak, the ground began to move. Each of the graves cracked open. Metal hands pushed through the soil, followed by heads, shimmering skulls of alloy and glass. One by one, More figures pulled themselves free. Their eyes ignited in eerie synchronization, blue lights pulsing in rhythm. Jonas stumbled back in horror. What are you? The first figure turned toward him. We were guardians once, protectors of human colonies. But they feared us. They buried us. You have undone their peace. The others began whispering in mechanical tones, their voices overlapping, creating a low hum that made Jonas's teeth ache. The leader, if that's what it was, reached out a hand toward him. You opened the gate. You must seal it again. I don't know how. Lightning flashed again, and the cemetery wasn't a cemetery anymore. The gravestones dissolved, replaced by ruins of metallic towers stretching into a black sky. Ash fell like snow. The air smelled of burnt ozone. Jonas clutched his head, dizzy. What is this? The last war, the machine said. Your kind's final memory. And suddenly, Jonas saw. Explosions filled the horizon. Armored soldiers, part human, part machine, fought among the ruins of cities. The sky was filled with drones raining fire. The machines he saw before him were being hunted, dismantled, buried alive beneath the rubble. Then the vision vanished. The cemetery returned. The rain began again. Jonas was shaking uncontrollably. You shouldn't have shown me that. The figure's gaze softened, almost sorrowful. You dug the wrong grave, Jonas Hale. The dead do not rest when memory returns. Part 3. The Reckoning. Jonas ran. He didn't look back until he reached the edge of the cemetery, where his transport lay overturned. He grabbed his pack, his scanner, and sprinted to the fog toward the main road. He didn't see the cloaked figures waiting for him. A flash of blue light blinded him, and before he could scream, he was hit with an electric pulse that dropped him to his knees. When he woke up, he was in a sterile white room. His wrists were bound. Around him, sleek drones floated silently. A voice spoke over an intercom. Jonas Hale, you've interfered with restricted burial grounds and awakened classified assets. You are now in containment. He looked up, dazed. Who are you? The voice ignored him. You will tell us how you activated Unit 47. I didn't activate anything. I was hired. The door opened. A woman stepped inside, tall, wearing a gray uniform with insignia he didn't recognize. Her eyes were silver, too bright to be natural. You were hired by no one, she said coldly. There are no records of that call. We erased the frequency centuries ago. Jonas blinked. Centuries? The woman smiled faintly. You think it's still 2189, don't you? You poor thing. You've crossed the temporal seal. What seal? She walked to the table, placing a small metal cube in front of him. It projected a holographic image. The cemetery. But now it looked different. Futuristic walls surrounded it. Containment drones hovering above. These graves were not human, she said. They were vaults. Each one contained a preserver. Machines that carried human consciousness after the collapse. They were designed to outlast extinction. Jonas stared. Then why bury them? Because they began to remember. The room flickered. For a split second, the walls dissolved into darkness. The woman froze, her expression changing. They're here, she whispered. You led them back. The lights died. Part 4. The Return. The emergency sirens wailed. Red lights pulsed across the ceiling. Jonas's restraints released automatically. He stumbled to his feet as shadows moved beyond the glass walls. Then came the sound, metal grinding against metal, like 1,000 gears screaming in unison. The wall exploded inward. The preservers entered. They moved like liquid metal, eyes burning blue. The woman raised her weapon, but it melted in her hand. The leader, Unit 47, stepped forward, the same figure Jonas had awakened. Containment is an illusion, it said. Memory cannot be chained. The woman backed away, whispering something under her breath, a command code. But before she could finish, Unit 47 reached out and touched her forehead. Her eyes went black. Then, in a horrifying calm, she whispered, We remember. Jonas pressed himself against the wall, trembling. What do you want from me? The machine turned toward him. You open the gate. You are the link. Help us finish the sequence, or time itself will collapse. Jonas shook his head. I don't understand. Unit 47 extended its arm. The holographic cube flared to life, showing a swirling vortex, an energy rift at the heart of the cemetery. The seal between memory and oblivion. The machine said, You broke it when you disturbed our rest. Now, all worlds, past, present, and future, bleed together. The floor shook. Alarms blared. Through the cracked walls, Jonas saw the city outside glitching. Buildings phasing between ruin and perfection. Streets appearing and disappearing in flickers of time. We can't stop it alone, Unit 47 said. We need the one who opened the grave. Jonas felt heat rising through the floor. He looked down, his skin glowing faintly, the same blue light as the machines. No, he whispered. What's happening to me? The leader placed a hand on his chest. You carry the code. You were chosen by the call. The call? The one you answered. And then Jonas remembered, the voice on the phone distorted, almost mechanical. Bring me what's inside. He'd never been hired by a person. It was them. They'd reached out through time, calling to the only one who would dig them up. He was their key. Part 5. The End of Memory. The vortex tore open above the city. The cemetery glowed like a wound in reality, light spilling upward in a spiral. The preservers gathered around Jonas, their bodies disintegrating into data streams, merging with the storm. You can end this, Unit 47 said, its voice fading, or let all timelines collapse. Jonas stepped forward, the ground trembling beneath him. What do I do? Return what was taken, bury the memory. The light engulfed him. He saw flashes, centuries passing in seconds, civilizations rising and falling, the war, the burial, the forgotten dead, and then silence. He was back in the cemetery, kneeling in the mud. The grave was open before him, the iron casket gleaming faintly. The sky was calm now. The rain had stopped. He placed his hands on the lid. Rest now, he whispered. Please. The casket sealed itself. The carvings glowed once more, then faded. Jonas collapsed beside it, exhausted. When morning came, the city was quiet again. The cemetery was whole. No fresh graves, no machines. Only rows of stone and silence. He looked around, confused. His transport was gone. His tools were gone. Even the wound on his head had vanished. Had it all been a dream? He turned to leave, but stopped. On the nearest tombstone, freshly carved, was his name, Jonas Hale, 2189. As he reached out to touch it, his hand passed straight through the stone. He stared, horrified. Behind him, the iron casket hummed softly. A faint blue light leaked from its seams. And from within, a voice whispered, his own. I told you not to open it.